Okay, guys. Yesterday we learned how to change a fraction to a decimal. So tonight we're going to learn how to change a decimal to a fraction. Okay, a decimal to a fraction. So if you look at your notes, there's a couple of rules we're going to follow, like basically just 2 steps. The first one is to write it like you say it. Okay, so you're going to take a decimal and you're going to write it like you say it. Well, you're like, Miss Clickman, what are you talking about? Well, you need to say the decimal using your place value. Okay, say the decimal using your place value. That's very important that you know your place values. So for example, if we look here, this says 0.4. Well, let's write it like we say it. How do we say this using our place value? Well, this 4 is in the tenths place, so you would say 4 tenths. So to write this, you would simply write 4 out of 10, 4 tenths. Okay? So write it like you say it. Say it using your place value. This is 4 tenths, so I'll write 4 out of 10. Step 2 is to always simplify. Okay? Simplify. You must always simplify. It's very, very, very important that you always simplify your answer. So if I look back up here at 4 tenths, if I were going to simplify 4 tenths, well, I'm going to look at that. What number will go into both of those? Or what number can I divide them both by? And it has to be the same number. Well, 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Can I simplify this fraction anymore? Nope. So here's my answer. Okay? To change 0.4 to a fraction, I write it like I say it, and then I simplify. So there is 0.4 as a fraction. All right, so you're like, what if I have a whole number in front of the decimal? Well, just like last night, we're going to follow the same steps. We're going to write the whole number in the answer box. Okay, if you noticed up here, I boxed my answer. Okay, there's an answer in a box. I call this the answer box. Okay, after we write our whole number in the answer box, then we're going to follow these steps with the remaining decimal. Write it like you say it, then simplify. After we're done changing the decimal to a fraction, we're going to take our answer and we're going to place it behind the whole number in the answer box. Let's do an example real quick. What if I have 1.4? Okay, well, I have a whole number, so I'm going to create an answer box down here. I'm going to bring my whole number down to my answer box so that I don't forget about it. Now all I have left is 0.4. Well, just like we did up here, we're going to write it like we say it. So how do you say 0.4 using your place value? Well, that's 4 tenths. Okay, this is in the tenths place. And I'm just writing it out here so you can see where the fraction is coming from. 4 tenths would be 4 out of 10. Step 2 is always simplify, so we need to divide both by 2. Messed that up, I apologize, that's a division sign. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now that I have my simplified fraction, I'm going to take it over here and add it behind my whole number in my answer box. So there we have it. 1.4 as a fraction is written 1 2/5. So let's go over here to our examples. Okay, let's go to our examples. 0.5. Well, step 1 is to write it like you say it. So let's look at this. This 5 is in what place? The tenths place. So this is 5 tenths. So I would write that 5 out of 10, 5 tenths. Well, step 2 is to always simplify. So I need to look at this. What number can I divide into both of these? 5. I can divide both these by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Can I simplify this fraction anymore? Nope. So there's my answer. Notice how I boxed my answer. Again, very important to box your answers. Okay, let's look at this next one. 0.72. Well, we need to say this using our place value, so write it like you say it. Let's look at the last digit, the 2. What place is this in? The hundredths place. So I would read this 72 hundredths. And I'm going to write that down. You don't have to do this on your homework. It's good to write on your notes just so you can see as a reference where your fraction's coming from. So again, 72 hundredths, so that would be 72 over 100. Okay, after I write my fraction, write it like you say it. Then we need to simplify, so I'm going to look at that. And you may say, Ms. Clickman, those are big numbers. Well, where do I start? Well, let's look at it. If you can't think of the biggest number that you can divide into both of those, then start small. Both of these numbers are even, so I know that they can both be divided by 2. Even numbers can always be divided by 2. So 72 divided by 2 is 36, and 100 divided by 2 is 50. So there we go. We've got 36 over 50. But is this fraction simplified all the way? Nope. These are both even numbers, so I know again I can divide it by 2. 36 divided by 2 is 18, and 50 divided by 2 is 25. Can I simplify this fraction anymore? Nope. So there's my final answer. Let's try the third one, 0.462. Well, let's look at our last number. What place is this in? The thousandths place. Okay, so I would say this 462 thousandths. 462 thousandths. All right, so let's write it like we say it, 462 thousandths. Again, we have a big number, so if you can't think of something that will divide into both of those, but you notice that they're both even, ends in a 0 or 2, even numbers, divide them both by 2. Start small, guys, if you need to. That's perfectly okay. You'll just keep going until you eventually get to your answer. So let's look. 462 divided by 2 is 231. And 1,000 divided by 2, well, what's half of 1,000? 500. Can I simplify this any more? Nope. So there's my final answer. The last one we're going to do together is another whole number with a decimal. So this is 2.622. So what's the very first thing I want you to do with your whole number? Take it to the answer box. Okay? Now all I have left is 0.622, so I'm going to write it like I say it. So let's look at this last digit again. What place is that in? I hope you said the thousandths place. So this would be 622 thousandths. I'm just going to write that down as a fraction. 622 thousandths. Again, these are big numbers, so if you need to start small, do it. I'm going to start small. I'm going to divide both of these by 2 because they're both even. 622 divided by 2 is 311. And 1,000 divided by 2 is 500. Well, I'm going to look at this. Can I simplify that anymore? No, I sure can't. So now that I have my simplified fraction, I'm going to take it back over here to my answer box and add it behind the 2. So my final answer is 2 and 311 500ths. Okay, so take your whole number to your answer box, then take your remaining decimal, write it like you say it, and simplify. Once you get your simplified answer, just add it back behind the whole number. And that's how you write a decimal as a fraction.